Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and we are part 3 of our Chevy Silverado DPC T6 Plus coating. And this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm already done coating it. I wish I would have had footage to show you guys the coating process, how it went on. But I have we're kind of in a busy season right now of life, and I ended up coating this from like 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. the other night, and I was tired and I was trying to get this done. And this is a pretty, I mean, when they say it's a tenacious coating, they're not kidding. The process in applying the coating was unlike any other coating that I have ever experienced. This stuff bonds on contact. They're not even kidding you when they tell you that. So I want to just do a quick walk around with you guys, and I want to try to share with you some of the things that I learned along the way when it comes to applying T6 Plus, things I might do differently next time. So let's do a quick walk around, show you it, and I'll just kind of point out some of the things that I learned using DPC T6 Plus. So let's do a walk around. All right, so let's just do a quick walk around of the vehicle. You can see the gloss on this is just outstanding. It looks better than the day that we bought it, honestly. It did have a lot of deep scratches that I struggled to get out. I wasn't chasing paint perfection, but you can just see the amount of gloss on this is impressive. So let me just kind of quick share with you my experience and what I learned along the way. When I was applying this, I started at around 10 o'clock at night just because of our life, our schedule. That was about the only time that I could do it. I had to refine one of the panels because I was being too aggressive with my medium polish. It left some marring, so I had to refine it, do panel prep, things like that. So I was using Meguiar's surface prep. And the last couple coatings that I have used, I've actually noticed I've been struggling with streaking with coatings, and not saying it's the surface prep, but I'm wondering if it's the surface prep leaving too much residue on the surface. So I might need to try a new panel prep when it comes to this stuff. I've always been a big believer of Meguiar's, but the last 3 or 4 coatings that I've used, I've just noticed that. So that's just a little sidebar for any of you who are using a panel prep. I have not tried CarPro. I've used CarPro Racer in the past, but I know Landon is a big fan of, I think it's the soy-based panel prep remover. I can't remember the name. Landon, if you're watching this video, maybe put your panel prep that you recommend in the comment section down below so that way people can see it. But things that I learned along the way when using this coating. First and foremost, so I had to call Landon around 11:30 at night because I was really struggling. I was getting tired. It took me an hour to do the roof and an hour to do the hood. It's big. It is a very big vehicle. I could barely reach the middle on the top of my step ladder, and I was trying to work in 12 by 12 sections like they say, and I was doing it wrong. I was doing T3. I was letting it sit for 5 to 10 seconds and then buffing off, and I was really struggling with the buff off. So when I called him and I was telling him, how much I was showing, he's like, "How much are you using on your applicator?" I showed him. He's like, way too little. He's like, "You need to soak it. You need to absolutely soak the pad." And I'm like, what? I didn't want to have to use the whole bottle in the truck. Guys, let me tell you, I used a 60 milliliter bottle, and I actually opened up a 30 milliliter bottle to do this entire vehicle. That's a lot. So I ended up, but because I took his advice, I soaked the pad, and he said, "You're waiting too long." He's like, "This stuff bonds on contact, buff off immediately. Like, put it on the panel and buff off immediately." And I was like, okay. So I tried that. So much easier. Game changer right there. So let me turn this around, and that way the whole video isn't me just looking at the truck. But let me turn this around and let you know what else I learned. All right, so when I was applying to the truck, I had to go thicker, and I had to buff off immediately. That made a huge difference. But another thing, the directions on the bottle say to wear a mask and use in a well-ventilated area. I didn't follow those instructions because, sometimes I just feel like that's a cover your butt kind of policy that they put on there. They're not kidding you. I ended up actually getting fume poisoning from having garage doors down, air conditioning on, no windows, no mask, nothing. I was in it for 4 hours, and by about 3 or 4 hours later, I felt like I had the flu. I feel tons better now. It wasn't the flu. I was nauseous, I was dizzy, lightheaded, I had like cold fever sweats. I just felt like crap, and that's my own fault. So don't do what I did, okay? Wear a mask, be in a well-ventilated area. There's a reason they have this stuff written on the bottle in like really big letters, okay? So don't be like me. But another thing that I realized is there were a couple times that I would take a break. It was late at night, I was getting thirsty, I would go to the kitchen and get a drink. I came back, I would maybe have, I had this panel right here, right there. So I did half the panel, went and got a drink, came back. I did the other half, and I was noticing that I was having a lot of streaking going on with the whole panel, and I'm like, what the heck? The coating was actually like bonding on contact with what I had applied and starting to cure. So when I had like that 5-minute break and came back to that other half of the panel, it was wanting to like push off the coating, and it was streaking really bad. And no amount of buffing was removing it. So I ended up actually having to get D302, polishing it by hand, and it was kind of spreading the streaks. So then I had to almost polish that entire panel by hand. But let me show you something that's really interesting. All right, so this is a panel that I pretty much had to polish by hand immediately after, and I thought, dang it, I'm gonna have to like recoat this whole panel. Landon said, you know, do it in 6 days after everything is fully cured and recoat. But I checked this the next day because I was like, well, the panel feels pretty slick. Guys, the coating is still there. I polished it 5 minutes after I applied it, and the coating is still there. Like, what coating do you know does that? Like, that is insane. And the paint, let me just, like, that is the slickest paint. Normally you only get slickness like that after you have put a topper on it. The paint is so slick. Even after I polished it by hand, it's still there. Now, mind you, there's a couple areas where I had to come out with a medium polish today. I actually had to take Angel Wax Regenerant and a medium, like an orange LC pad, and go after some high spots. And I hit those panels with water, and the coating is still there. So like, I'm essentially, you're like buffing off the transfer solution. Now you can be too aggressive and remove the coating, but I think I found that fine line. Now I still have, I noticed right here, I have a little bit of a high spot. I need to blend that a little bit more with my polish. I did have some high spots like here that I had to polish that by hand. I had some like here, and I'm not going to freak out. This is kind of a hard area to coat and also to get that out. But I had to like come in and polish those by hand. But you can see, all in all, it turned out beautifully. So let me just kind of recap the things that I learned for you. Work in small 12 by 12 sections. Don't be afraid of saturating your pad. Be prepared, you may use a full bottle. If you have like a sedan, definitely a full bottle, and possibly even a 30 milliliter bottle if you have like a huge truck like this. So lay it thick, buff off immediately. It's going to be a lot easier to remove. Be in a well-ventilated area. Possibly wear a mask. If you have high spots, don't be afraid of polishing. You don't want to be super aggressive, but you know, polishing by hand immediately after, it didn't even affect it. I'm not saying that you should do that, but in my situation, it worked and it was fine. I had a lot of high spots when I came out this morning, and I was like, no, and it was fine. It's fine. Look at it. The fact that you can see me and I can like talk, hopefully, I don't know. Am I talking to the camera? There we go. But this stuff is impressive. It is impressive. It is a pro level coating by every means. And you want to take the instructions that Landon has shared, that Scott has shared seriously. If you have absolutely no user experience with coatings, I would say do a test panel first. Just get a little familiar with applying this stuff because it is so tenacious. But honestly, you know, everything is fixable. It's not going to damage the vehicle if I have to polish it off and then eventually, you know, recoat a panel, but I don't have to. I'm actually like, woo, thank you, Jesus, over that. But this is just a phenomenal product. It has a learning curve. It's not something that this can be your first coating and come at it. So I'm just going to make that statement. I struggle with coatings. I struggle with anxiety with coatings. That's one of the reasons why I like Owner's Pride, because it kind of takes the stress out of it. But I also, I like trying out new products. This, you know, I've really enjoyed using all of DPC products. And Landon really encouraged me, because of living in Pennsylvania and having snow and road salts and just harsh elements, to try out T6 Plus. And brand new truck, I wanted to protect it for the long term. So am I happy I did it? Completely. Yes. My husband was like, wow, it looks fantastic. I can't wait to see it with TR8 on top. And I can't wait to wash it and see what kind of user experience that is. And I'll definitely bring you guys along the way. Give updates on the coating, on maintenance, things like that. But all in all, I definitely learned a lot through this experience. One, about myself. I think as detailers, we constantly need to be learning new things and admit, we might not be perfect at everything and struggle. But I'm really glad that I had this user experience. And, if any of you have any questions, let me know. But hopefully this helps any of you as you consider T6 Plus. Just those few things that I shared with you that Landon really hit home in his videos, but just take him seriously. He really knows what he's talking about. When he says lay it thick, don't be like, oh, I'll be frugal. He's just saying that for overkill. No, he's not. Like, lay it thick, buff off immediately. If you have high spots, you might have to polish them, because this is an aggressive coating. It is unlike anything I have ever experienced. I am really impressed with it. I really want to try it on my wheels. I was supposed to do C5 from G Technique, but now I'm contemplating just finishing up the 30 milliliter bottles that I have and putting it on the wheels. So for any of you who, would you rather G Technique C5 or T6 Plus on wheels? Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to do one or the other. I want to be consistent, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one should I do? I know what you're going to say, Landon. DPC, baby. But anyways, so thanks guys for watching. We're going to call this one a wrap. I wanted to share with you my experience. I'm sorry I don't have footage to show you of me applying it, but again, because of the type of coating, the amount of time that I was spending on it, the late night, I just didn't have the energy for me to do a video, but I wanted to at least share with you things that I learned along the way, things that I would do differently, and hopefully this helps. So if you guys like the end result, give me a thumbs up. I mean, and even if you don't want to give me a thumbs up, that's all right. I'm giving myself a thumbs up. My husband is happy. That's all that matters. I'm really happy. I can't wait to wash it and see what kind of results we have. But we're going to just say, fantastic product by DPC Detailing. It is a beast. It is in a caliber all on its own. I've never experienced a coating like this. And I'm excited to see how this protects our vehicle long term. I'm thankful to be able to have something like this at my fingertips. And for any of you who are not professional detailers, just the fact that you can have access to something like this is unheard of. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day.